Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to the premier film podcast, criticism, whatever. Let's get trashed. With me is my pal Clarence Riley the Fourth.
Thank you so much for the generous introduction. I want to say best film I can say this with extreme confidence. Best film podcast on this particular street in Austin, Texas. I can say that with 100%. Wait.
Thank you.
They did another one.
Oh, you checked? Yeah. You looked outside my window?
I just looked, and there's somebody out there right now doing a better one. Sorry, guys.
Damn it. Well,
no, best
my
film,
reign as king was short-lived.
Best film podcast in this zip code, 78748.
Don't give the folks my zip code.
That's my zip code too.
They don't need to know where I'm at. All right, there's a lot of heat.
You're not going to find us.
There's a lot of heat on me right now.
There is.
None of this makes sense. All right. What movie are we talking about today?
Today, we're talking about a movie by David Cronenberg, body horror master, called Crimes of the Future.
Crimes of the Future. Yeah.
Yes.
As opposed to the Crimes of the Present, which is watching the fucking Colts shit the bed all over themselves and then not be able to finish and lazily struggle to a tie week 1 of the NFL season. But those are modern day crimes, and also the same crimes I've been subjected to for fucking 8 seasons in a row.
These
are
about
crimes
sports,
of the
religion,
future.
Or politics. Yes.
These are crimes of the future we're talking about, and we're talking about. I've been wanting to do this movie for a really long time.
Now, this is a movie that's been somewhat close to your heart. Like, you saw this movie in theaters.
I saw it in the theaters. I didn't know anything about it. As you and I discussed, this is the first David Cronenberg film I've ever seen.
Right.
And I went in blind, not really knowing what to expect, knowing a couple things. I like Viggo Mortensen, I guess. I love Kristen Stewart as an actress, which I wanted to go see this because I knew she was going to be awesome in it, and I heard it was just good, and I wanted to start, I want to start watching Cronenberg films. I might as well start with the current offering.
There you go.
And it's incredible.
You know what? I really, really enjoyed this movie in a way that I didn't think I would necessarily.
Because you've seen, what other Cronenberg movie have you seen?
I've seen The Fly. That was a David Cronenberg movie.
Goldblum Fly.
Old Jeff Goldblum. Old Jeffy Golds, as I call him.
Because that's a remake.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it?
Yeah. The whatever the 80s version is a remake of, they did one in the 50s or something.
Oh, okay. All right. So it was like one of those legacy monster movies?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I haven't seen either, but I do know that the Goldblum one that's super, super popular, that's that's Cronenberg. I don't know who decorated. I don't know who directed the first one back in the day, nor do I know who stars in it or anything like that.
Nor do I know who decorated it.
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you.
I don't know who the set decorator was.
The prop master on that one was a guy named James, I want to say. But he went by Jim. I'll say this. A lot of that body horror stuff that kind of David Cronenberg is known for was done well in this movie, but not in the same way that it was back in the day. Like, you had a lot of those clay sculptures of people who were very grotesque.
Right.
And here you had body modification.
Yeah.
That took place. Spoilers for Crimes
of
the Future.
And before we even get into it, the other time some of our viewers or listeners may be familiar with, if you're familiar with the pop sensation animated cartoon Rick and Morty, there's an episode. Yes. There's an episode where they accidentally turn their entire they turn the entire planet into monsters on accident, and they call them Cronenbergs because they're all it's legs and arms sticking out of weird places, and they have they're half bugs and half something else's, and they call them we made a bunch of Cronenberg monsters.
We Cronenberg the world.
damn it, Grandpa Rick, we accidentally turned the entire world into Cronenberg monsters. She's like, shut up, Morty, I'm going to fix it. You know, so, I mean, that name is like synonymous with, they use it as a joke, obviously, but that name is synonymous with
body horror.
Yeah, body creepiness and whatever. So, we've got Viggo Mortensen,
Aragorn himself.
Yeah, Leah Seydoux, and Kristen Stewart as the three like leads of this film.
Correct.
Or rather, Viggo Mortensen and Leah Seydoux are the two leads. Kristen Stewart gets third billing because even though she's probably not the third biggest part in the film, but she's the best part of this film. I'm going to say that right off the bat. Kristen Stewart is, again, putting on an incredible performance. She's legitimately she must be my favorite actress, like, working.
Your favorite working actress is Kristen Stewart.
Besides, like, obviously, besides, like, Meryl Streep and Helen Mirren, you know, besides, you know, Kathy Bates, besides, like, these women of the young generation.
There are very few women I would die on the hill on other than Helen Mirren. Oh, my goodness. Love Helen Mirren. Just cannot do any wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah. Just keep an eye on your like levels too.
I'm trying, man. Listen, I've been trying to be careful because I've just been recovering from, you know, the big old plague. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's right. I'll watch that thing. I don't
care. All right.
That's Jimmy's mic. I don't even give a fuck.
Jimmy, what's up, brother?
Anyway, but anybody that watches this pod knows I can't go a single episode without mentioning how dope like Timothée Chalamet and Robert Pattinson are.
Right.
Those are my two, as far as like that young generation of actors, those are my two dudes. And then my baby girl is, my BBG is Kristen Stewart.
That's it. There you go.
And
all right.
Just, if you're watching this, and I know that you are, Kristen, just know that my DMs are wide open. You just hop on in anytime you want.
You can even get at him through me if you need to. Clarence Riley the Fourth.
Yeah, you can find him. But you can also find me.
It's intensely easy to find me, and I'll pass you right over to him. No questions asked. I'm not even going to take offense.
Let's talk about what this movie is.
This movie is a lot of things. Let's
start kind of at the beginning. We start off. One thing I love whenever creepy stuff, or you know, even like stuff in the horror genre. I love daytime horror,
where it's out in the daytime, open, and
it's brightly lit. That's why I love Midsummer. Was Ari Aster's Midsummer? That movie's great because it all takes place in the day. It's very creepy and very scary, and it all takes place during the day.
Yep.
Super impressive to be able to pull off that juxtaposition of like a brightly lit, you know, seemingly normal scene, but with creepy action or scary undertones or however you want to think of it. And this movie starts off like that because we open on a little boy who's got an unusual disposition, but he's hanging out by the beach in broad daylight.
Just literally doing little boy things like fishing around.
He's playing with a shovel on the beach.
Yep.
There is a capsized like cruise ship or giant ship in the background. So right off the bat, you're looking at this thinking like, all right, it's obviously some sort of, is it apocalyptic? Is it whatever? Who knows what's going on?
Right.
But this cruise ship fell over. It's kind of like that Italian cruise ship that tilted over.
Costa Concordia. Yes.
There we go. Damn, good pull.
There it is, yeah.
Great pull. Yeah. He's in front of the Costa Concordia.
Very prescient. To put that in this movie.
Playing with a shovel, and his mom's yelling at him. And
don't eat anything that you find in that water is what she tells him, essentially.
And you think it's just a regular warning to a kid, but it's not a regular warning because this kid's not regular.
Correct.
And it starts off, this kid without just like recapping the plot, the mother ends up murdering this child. The first scene.
Can I say something? Within the first 5 minutes, ends up murdering this kid.
It's the second daytime he's playing with a shovel. That evening, he brushes his teeth, and then she murders him because she's so upset about something he did.
Smothers him with a pillow.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really sets the scene for the movie.
So yeah, we have our setting. We have our obviously like abandoned and capsized cruise ship, which is some sort of symbol of where the world is. At a place and time where giant machinery being abandoned or whatever. Obviously there was loss of life.
Failure of industrialization.
Yeah, exactly. So we have that kind of thing of our setting, and then with the mother murdering her child, we get like a sense of where the people are. We get a sense of the character of like actual what humanity is looking like.
Right.
We get all that right away, which is very, very effective.
Yes. There were, and I think I remember because I always do that thing where I talk while we're watching a movie. Shut up. I remember saying at that point, like, man, this movie is just laying it all out there. And when a movie does that, it really has to kind of pay that off. You know what I mean? Like, if a movie does something where they're like, hey, here are a bunch of big reveals right at the beginning, you're like, well, you better have a bunch of more reveals right after that.
Yeah.
Throughout the movie.
Yeah, I see what you mean by that. Like, you can't you can't expose it all. You can't lay down your hand right at the beginning, or expose all your cards right at the beginning. Although,
exactly.
Although those, I don't know. Yeah, I don't even feel like it got that dramatic. I don't know. It just did a really good job of, I think, setting the tone of this environment that we're watching.
That's true. It did a lot of set dressing in those first 10 minutes that that you really wouldn't be able to account for otherwise.
And then the next character we're introduced to is the boy's father, who comes to claim his deceased son, and he's obviously very distraught. But then we're promptly introduced to our protagonists, which are the artistic duo, the artist team of Saul Tenser and Caprice.
I feel we'd be remiss if we didn't explain the medium of art that they're practicing.
Well, we're going to get to it. We just brought them up.
That's exactly it, because it really bears explaining.
Yeah, well, of course. And so it's a very... before we even can do that, we'll have to talk about what this kind of world is, because it takes us a while to kind of learn exactly what's going on.
Yes.
But eventually it is revealed to us that for some reason, humanity, by and large, doesn't experience pain anymore. Something happened. I don't know if it was an event. They call it evolution, or they call it just the progress of biology.
Like spontaneous evolution or something like that, right?
Yeah.
We're definitely getting all the terms right here.
Most people don't experience pain. And because of that, they are looking for new ways to satisfy, like,
that itch.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, or the fact that the fact they don't feel pain means that basically if you don't feel pain, it's kind of like you don't feel anything. So it's like all your senses are dulled. It's a complete dulling of sensation.
Right.
And so that's led to people doing all kinds of things with
essentially
their
being numbed.
Yeah. They're numb, so they're going to further and further extremes to feel something. And a lot of that involves, like, inflicting what would be considered pain on you. You see a lot of it's a very graphic film. You see a lot of knives going into skin throughout this movie.
It is definitely earning that R rating.
Yeah.
Sure.
And it's interesting because that concept of we no longer feel pain and we keep going further and further down this kind of road in order to replicate that, or in order to substitute that, or find a new solution for it, could be so many different things, right? I mean, what is Cronenberg talking about? Is he talking about drugs? Is he talking about is he talking about how drugs synthesize what's the word I'm looking for?
Simulate.
No. Desensitize. Drugs desensitize us.
You. Okay.
And then so you always have to get more. The first time you smoke or do an edible, you can do a 5 milligram edible and you're high. And then as you build up a tolerance, same thing with alcohol. First time you drink a couple beers and you're like, oh my goodness, I'm a drunk teenager. And now you need literally an entire bottle.
Neither of us drank while we were teens.
You need an entire bottle of bourbon to even get through a single fucking football game.
The Colts. It was the whole thing, guys.
So it's we desensitize ourselves with these kind of things, whether
right.
Drugs and alcohol, stuff like that. It could also be an analogy for I don't know, our connectivity and social media and tech, and the fact that we need more and more experiences. We need our phone to constantly be ringing. We're always going deeper and deeper because we can't feel the basic humanity anymore.
Yeah. I think that there's something to be said about that in the idea of a callus, right? You and I are both musicians. We build up calluses to do what it is we do. You play on skins all day long. I play with bass. Mm-hmm. You build up that callus, and after a while, that sensitivity is no longer there.
Yeah, you need to play longer for it to for you to feel the same way you used to.
Exactly, and you have to dig deeper. That's what we all do, and so having that analogy there kind of ties back into the body horror aspect of what David Cronenberg does, because you're literally modifying your body so that you feel different.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's exactly it. And a lot of it comes in the form of again, cutting, which is a thing. Cutting isn't even exclusive to this world. Cutting exists in this world. People will cut themselves for that sensation
for various reasons.
Yeah. So that's it seems like that has gone widespread in wherever this is. They don't even mention there's no mention of a state or a country or.
There are a lot of things that they don't mention and bring into the fore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The type of tech that they have that looks like this bioorganic alien.
Yeah.
Literally Alien, the movie James Cameron. Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott. Aliens was, But no, I know what you mean. Yeah, exactly. You're right.
It's so insane that they're just this exists. This is how it is.
It's very, very weird.
Yes.
And but it's kind of beautiful. It's really well done. I watched it in the theater, and then we just rewatched it at home at my place. And then shout out Vudu for you can watch in super ultra HD. We just watched it in 4K. It looked beautiful. 4K high resolution.
You do have a really good TV too.
I do have a sick ass TV.
Yeah, you've got a nice TV.
Yeah. Kristen Stewart.
I'm not even trying to
come to my house and watch my nice TV with me.
Kristen Stewart, don't even hit me up.
Kristen, call me.
Kristen Stewart.
Go to my Instagram. Add Nick Tazo Drums.
He's on my Insta too.
You just heard it. My friend said my TV is sick. We could watch a movie together.
This is, you know what? Unless you have a projector, I don't see how you're going to get a better picture.
Are projectors better? I don't even want to go down this sidetrack, but I feel like projectors don't look that good.
Projector talk is going to be our next podcast. We're not going to worry about it right now. We're not going to worry about it today.
Projector talk.
There are some you can see in the daylight. Nah, fuck all that. That's what we call fuckable noise.
So we've talked a little bit about kind of like what is going on in the world. In addition to this biological event, this evolutionary event where people kind of don't feel pain, or most people don't, there are some people, including our hero Saul Tenser, Viggo Mortensen, there are some people that are spontaneously like growing organs inside their body. That's something he's doing a lot. He has his special medical bed that he sleeps in that keeps track of his vitals because he's in constant pain. It registered, there's a new hormone present in your bloodstream. That means a new organ is forming, a new endocrine gland or a new whatever, and that gets him and Léa Seydoux very, very excited, because that brings us to their art form, which is she tattoos his new organs that grow. She tattoos them on the inside on the inside of his body. Like she sticks a needle in and tattoos by feel alone without even looking at it, basically. And then
like an endoscopic.
Like endoscopic tattoos.
That's probably not the right term, guys. Sorry.
Then they set up this. Autopsy table, and she cuts him open and removes the organ and displays it for everybody, and it's like this weird performing arts piece that honestly,
right,
as brilliant and like beautifully shot and as like fascinating the storytelling is in this movie, if this was real life, going to this art exhibit or this performance art piece would absolutely suck dick. It's so fucking bad. Just watching a French woman be like, with this beautiful, with this like calm look on her face as she cuts a dude open, and he makes like sexual grunts as he's getting cut, because that's like the only way he can feel pleasure, kind of.
Right.
And then take this organ out and be like, it's an organ that I tattooed, and everybody in the crowd,
it's got a tribal armband.
It's all these art dorks. Yeah. Yeah, the tribal tattoo.
Exactly.
That is funny. Yeah. My brother has that tattoo on his back. It's got a
fucking Ed Hardy on a spare liver that you
yeah, your organ looks like an Affliction shirt. Just the fucking...
Oh, does that say tap out? Nice. Yeah. Awesome.
Just the worst fucking tattoo on this shit.
Never.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't.
But anyway, being surrounded by all these like art nerds who are so moved by this thing.
Fucking dorks.
It would suck.
Yes.
It would absolutely suck if this was real life.
100% dorks. And I can say that as somebody on a podcast. Fucking dorks. Don't laugh at that.
Let's not get that twisted. It would be the lamest.
Fucking right.
But in this world, people think it's cool.
Well, because people can't feel shit. So it'd be like, oh man.
No, because this would happen. I mean, like,
you think?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, you can go to any kind of like performing arts thing. I don't know. Like, remember in The Big Lebowski?
Yeah.
When she's like she's on the zip line and she's just swinging paint everywhere.
Yeah.
That's like her feminist art, and it's at some gay LA art gallery. It's there are people today that would love that.
You know what? There are people literally on this block who would love that right now.
What are you saying about my block? Stop talking about my block, all right? Keep my block out of your mouth.
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth.
Yeah.
Please don't slap me, Nick. I really can't take that. I will 100% cry.
Yeah. The world can't take it. Believe me.
Actually, you know what? That'd be a racist thing.
Yeah.
We're getting away from the subject. Here's the thing that I noticed about this movie.
Okay.
The fact that it's gotten to a point where it's no longer even a question. It's just like, oh yeah, we do this shit for art. You know what I mean? We take out or basically cancerous organs for art.
Yeah.
That is insane.
Well,
to me,
for sure. I mean, yeah, and it's kind of interesting how almost everybody is like adjusted to this. I don't know how recently this development is. I don't. We can't tell
enough to where they don't like culturally care. You know what I mean?
Well, that would be not recent. You know what I mean? I mean, like, how long has it been?
How many generations would it have been?
Yeah,
like,
50
I'd say
years?
like 20 years.
Okay, we know it's at least 10 because the boy, who's a linchpin of this story.
Oh my goodness, we haven't even gotten to that. Oh my God.
He's about 10 years old when he died, right?
Right.
They called him a 10-year-old boy at some point. So he's 10, and we know some of the stuff was happening before he was born. So that's all part of it. Let's talk about Kristen Stewart. Without me just talking about how much I love her. We're going to talk about we are going to talk about that, but we're going to talk about the actual
standing for Kristen
her
Stewart.
performance.
Yeah.
Cuz she gives the best performance in this movie.
You know, she doesn't slack. She does not. And not to conflate this performance with the one that she does as Princess Diana, but that one's fresh in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that she's a phenomenal actress.
Yeah. Well, here especially, she's just so good. And there's so many. I mean, Cronenberg's like photography and cinematography. The blocking and like the staging of his actors is one thing I really love. And the first time Viggo Mortensen, Lea Seydoux, they head to this new bureaucratic office, the Office of Organ Registration.
Right.
Because now that this thing is happening, the government has to like keep track of it. The government feels like they have to keep track of everything. And Kristen Stewart works in this office just as a bureaucrat. But she's completely enamored with this artist and this male artist when he comes in. And so in addition to her, she's like stammering. She's so
fangirly.
Yeah, but fangirly is like certainly a modern way of saying it. She's so taken and so kind of head over heels she can't get her words out. She does her facial expressions throughout. She does an incredible job of emoting as this nervous girl who's like meeting an icon that she is basically in love with, it seems. And so in addition to her performance being like that pristine, that incredible and so charming kind of, if it wasn't such a creepy subject matter, if it wasn't like this disgusting office and this like creepy time and place and this weird setting that's very Cronenberg, she would be adorable. You know what I mean? Like just
yeah, absolutely.
You know, I pray to God I'm a famous enough drummer for anyone to stammer like that when they meet me. You know,
you are, man. You are. You're the Nicholas Tazo, which is how he introduces himself. We're going to talk more about his block here in a bit.
So yeah, and then like the first thing I noticed is that when they're all talking, some of them come inside the room, and so there's this long scene of Lea Seydoux against the wall next to a door frame with Kristen Stewart on the other side of the door frame. and it's I mean, it's great blocking by the director. That shot, that scene is great because it just shows us like Léa Seydoux is on the inside. She's in with Saul Tenser. She's in with Viggo Mortensen, and Kristen Stewart is on the outside. She's external to this, and she wants to be on the inside. She wants Leah's place. She wants Caprice's place on the inside.
The camera is telling the story.
But the camera's exactly. The camera's showing us that she's an outsider still at this point. And just little stuff like that I thought was incredible.
I gotta say real quick, just to piggyback off of what you were just saying, there was this really, really great shot. It felt like 15 minutes, but it was only like maybe a minute and a half where Léa Seydoux and Viggo Mortensen are just like, she's approaching him and he's backing up in this office. It's really, really great because the tension is built up. They're taking it all in one take, and then finally it cuts. And you're like, oh, wow, I can't believe I just sat through that whole thing. And that felt like a lot longer than it actually was.
Yeah, like a great tension builder. Yeah.
Exactly. Like it's an example of the cinematographer doing the acting.
Yeah, this movie does that kind of stuff brilliantly.
Very well. Yeah. Very well.
I brilliantly, I think, for sure. Anyway, so that's kind of that's this world we live in, and up until this point, even though it's creepy and weird, we don't really have a conflict yet.
Right.
With our setting, we know, we kind of know what's going on, but we don't have we don't exactly know what the problem is. If everybody's fine, everybody's happy, until we get a black character. He's not
always going to come to this, you guys.
He's not the guy causing the problem, but he's concerned about something. And what made me laugh really hard the first time I watched this movie is that there's only one black dude in this entire movie.
That's true.
And it's extra funny because he's like the only normal dude in the entire movie, which made me laugh so much because it made me think like this whole universe of like not feeling pain or like the organ shit and like all this kind of like Cronenberg-y, all this horrific stuff. It's only happening to white people. This black dude is just like normal, and he's like, what the fuck is going on with you guys?
You know what? If I ever have to write a dissertation, that is going to be what I write it on right there. That one nigga in Crimes of the Future.
Just a regular black dude, still like he's a 2020 black dude surrounded by all these 2050 white people that are going crazy and just experiencing weird body shit.
What the hell is going on here?
Which doesn't it always seem like that? Doesn't it always seem like white people are coming up with some goofy new invention or some goofy new shit?
You know what? Yeah.
Black people,
there's always some sort of thing that it's like, hey, we found, well, I was about to say something that turns out to be a plot point. We found some way to digest plastic. Right.
Well, yeah, there's always
there's always some sort of fucking crazy thing.
It's always
like that.
funny. Yeah. It's always funny if you're like on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, or Twitter, and you see a video of like, it's always white people like swimming with alligators, or white people, playing games with sharks or whatever, and then all the comments are black people going, "What the fuck is wrong with white people?" That happened. That's what this movie feels. That's what the black guy in this movie feels like. Is like, what the fuck is wrong with white people? And
I would agree with that statement.
It also reminds me of this, like, one of my favorite things about the Mad Max series.
Okay.
I love.
Let's connect these dots.
I love to pretend whenever I watch Mad Max, any of the four, I love to pretend that this is only happening in Australia. Like, the world is fine.
The world was just like We'll let them
Australia, Australia ran out of gas, and now they're cutting people's heads off and painting shit on their hoods, and the rest of the country, the rest of the world is like, what the fuck?
Even New Zealand is like, oh no, yeah, there, mate, we're good.
Yeah, New Zealand is looking at Australia, going like, what the fuck? That
you know what? Headcanon accepted.
Yeah, that makes me laugh. Every time I watch one of those movies, I like to pretend that that's what's going on. It's just Mel Gibson is just it's just Australia. So
I like that Mel Gibson is just synonymous for Australia. You're like, Australia, Mel Gibson.
He's Mad Max.
That's true. You know what?
That's what I meant.
You guys all look the same to me. It's okay. I'm basically Denzel Washington over here. Man, if only I could be like a Denzel Washington or Idris Elba type. Jesus. I need to lose about 30 pounds. What we were talking about the movie.
Yeah, let's talk about. I mean, I took a few notes as we were watching it. I don't have to like go through every note, but again, one of my favorite scenes. So, our black cop, our black guy, he's a police officer of some kind, or F Fed or whatever, with the vice
Negro
unit.
cop,
and he goes to the Oregon registration where Kristen Stewart and another guy work, and he's grilling them and trying to get to the bottom of it, of what's going on, and he's going through the book because Saul Tenser, our hero, he agreed to help the what's it called? He agreed to help this organization by donating all of his old organs. He donated them to him, so they would now have they could start off right off the bat. They have a good dictionary of organs that popped up. He's already had 10 or 20 of these, however, so that's like a good starting point. So whenever new stuff comes around, they can cross reference that with the resources that Paul Tenser's given them. That's something that apparently happened off screen.
Kind of like a database.
Yeah, and so they call it the Paul Tenser. Saul Tenser, the Saul Tenser organography. And it's just these photos of his organs and these pictures and all this kind of stuff that's put together kind of like a scrapbook. And
so nice.
The way Kristen Stewart reacts to this black dude as he's like flipping through the pages, and she's like so nervous that he's not touching it the right way. He's just got 4 fingers on the page, and he's like, turning it over and looking at the backside and lifting up little things, and she's just like, he's not being delicate enough with her and with it, and the way she's just reacting to that kind of in the background. She doesn't have the authority to tell him to fucking stop, so she's just like, oh, no, that. It's incredible. It's such great acting. It's
subtlety.
It's a masterclass in performance.
I really like when an actor isn't the one who's like the hero in the shot. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. When somebody has that kind of agency to be like, hey, just like react with your face. Maybe squint a little bit. Maybe act a little uncomfortable. Yeah. I like to see that.
There's so much. Actor. Yeah, there's so much you can do, and she does like the best version of it. And so this is basically this world, and so we'll, without just kind of going through everything, we could go through the plot points. You said something fucking hilarious when we were watching. There's one point in the film when
what did I say? I'm sorry.
Saul Tenser is not the only artist experimenting with the human body. There's another guy who covered himself in ears.
Right.
He covered himself in ears, and he's doing like an interpretive dance, but he's got ears that have been like cloned or harvested, and he's got them sewn all over his naked body.
Don't make me say this.
You don't want to say it?
He's all ears.
Oh yeah, well he's all ears.
Okay, all right.
And
all right.
What
was the thing
that I always said one of the things is like it's like, you know, that old phrase like God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, so you should do twice as much listening. But he has his mouth sewn up. So it's like God gave him 40 ears and 0 mouth, so you have to listen 40 times as much as 0 or whatever.
This motherfucker better shut the fuck up.
And it's like, but we were talking about he could just hear everything. He's all ears. Man, I bet the reception is great. And then you said that's the kind of guy my wife wishes I was.
Yes. Hey baby.
Just
How you doing?
Just a dude covered in ears who's listening to everything.
Yeah. You know, he's all ears is the thing.
Yeah.
He's here for it. I wish I was as funny as that quote. Jeez.
No, you said it.
Yeah, I know, but still.
Anyway, there's a lot of themes. I do want to talk more like theme and stuff. So rather than let's not even get into spoilers and kind of talk about what we'll just say that the cops are interested. There's a political, in this world, a political kind of aspect to everything, and that some people are worried about the actual next evolution in humanity, and they think it's going to cause problems if this certain group is allowed to propagate, or if
a little bit of an X-Men situation.
Yeah, you know what? You were reading my mind. I just thought of that a second ago. The same way the X-Men are persecuted for their talents or their abilities, I guess there's a fear that they're afraid of the new generation of people.
Yeah. That's fair to say.
Yeah. So that's kind of interesting, and that leads us to a few different places, and it's all nothing is really laid out for you. It's a movie you have to pay a lot of attention to, and you have to think about for sure, which I like. I mean, I love this kind of stuff.
Yes.
And going back to the kind of the themes we were talking about of desensitization and needing more and more, that idea of like body, I guess, dysmorphia and body horror and stuff like that. I don't know, maybe this is a wrong interpretation, but there's a scene where Lea Seydoux, where Caprice, the artist, she's at an art show watching a friend of hers get her face all cut up.
Basically get like gills on her cheeks, essentially.
Yeah, but not for any functional reason.
Exactly.
Yeah, she's a beautiful woman, and her artistic thing is that she's having a surgeon slice her face because she wants to destroy her like inherent beauty, or she's whatever, she's trying to make a statement. She's purposely slicing her face to have that look. And Caprice, who's a beautiful woman in her own right, certainly, she says, watching your performance, it was so beautiful. I have the sudden desire to cut my face open. And I don't know, that instantly made me kind of think of nothing even specific, but the desire people have to, we hurt ourselves. We want to emulate something. We want to emulate something that we see as glamorous or fashionable or whatever, even though it's a detriment to ourselves, but we just see it as beautiful.
Yeah.
And again, that's plastic surgery. That's, the Kardashians all getting, butt implants or breast implants, or they're getting their faces cut. They're getting liposuction. They're getting lip fillers.
Yep.
And people, mostly, in the specific instance of the Kardashians, mostly women, are seeing that, and they're, instead of being horrified by this surgery that is like changing our natural bodies that are fine, they want it too, because they want to participate in this fad. They want to be part of it. they want to look a certain way. And these, women who are all objectively attractive anyways. Kim Kardashian was beautiful before she ever got her surgery, but it's never enough for her. At least until the fad dies down. And actually now they've gotten, some of those women have gotten some of their surgeries reversed. They've gotten some of their like Brazilian butt lifts or whatever. They've gotten that removed because they can afford to do it whenever they want. And now the fashion, I think, is trending away from that kind of look that they were at the forefront, but now they can transition out of it. Whereas a woman who begged for $10,000 to get one of those can't afford to get it undone.
Right.
Now she's permanently out of fashion.
It's
you know what I mean? But you're constantly chasing some aesthetic, and it's harmful to you. It's harmful to people that do this. But there's something so compelling about it for people, which is why Leah Seydoux going to her friend being like, I had this sudden desire to cut my face open because you were doing it
and get those like scarification things on
well, and then that was what that's what she ended up doing. Her friend was like, well, why don't you come back to my hotel and we can hang out and I can show you something else, rather than just getting fucking
gills.
Rather than getting your cheek cut into Venetian blinds, I can give you the Darth Maul horns on your forehead. So then Leah Seydoux shows up to her house that she shares with Viggo Mortensen with little fucking Darth Maul horns everywhere,
which was not an improvement.
It just looks weird.
Not an improvement.
But she just got these like implants, these 6 implants on her forehead that looked gross.
Yeah.
But she's like, it's just a thing I did to make myself look beautiful. And even
I feel good.
Viggo Mortensen, who's part of this universe, is like, what the fuck?
Hey, why though?
Yeah.
Here's one thing that I was thinking about. And this is a movie that I'd be interested to find your take on. There's a movie that has Jude Law and Forrest Whitaker. It's called Repo Man. Have you ever heard of this movie?
I've heard of Repo Man.
Yeah.
I've heard of the TV show Repo Man.
Basically, they act as repossession men for people who like rent fake organs. You know what I mean? Like replacement organs. And like it's like, okay, yeah, you can pay $26,000 for a liver, but you default on that loan, we're going to come and we're going to pull that liver out of your body.
Wow. So another organ type of thing, huh?
Yes. It's very, very similar to what we were just talking about with Crimes of the Future. And I would be interested to get your take on that, because a lot of the same themes about like body autonomy, the body horror of it, and all of that.
Body dysmorphia, which is the in vogue term.
Yeah. A lot of it feels very similar to Crimes of the Future here, which is just... It really tickles a particular part of your mind.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Jude Law and who?
Forrest Whitaker.
Ooh.
I
know Forrest Whitaker.
Oh, lazy eye.
Yeah.
Forrest Whitaker.
I know Forrest Whitaker.
Mr. Whitaker, I'm just kidding.
He's good. Jude Law sucks, right? What is...
he's not too bad, man. He was in...
What is Jude Law in?
He was in Alfie. He was in AI back in the day.
The fact that a black man in his 30s saw Alfie is fucking wild.
I'm a half black man.
Yeah, your other half, you're
Mexican as hell.
Your Mexican half shouldn't have been watching Jude Law on a Vespa scooter.
We had HBO.
What is that movie even about? I've never seen it.
It's about a man.
Because I'm real. Because I keep it real, and I've never seen it.
Okay, Nick Tazo, get the fuck out of here. No, it's actually a beautiful movie. It's a remake of one that used to... I think Mick Jagger was in the original. Jesus, dude, don't ask me why.
Dude, this sounds like dog shit.
You know what? This will be part of our dog shit movie series.
It's so funny for you to be like, it's a good movie. It's a remake of a Mick Jagger movie from from 20 years before Mick Jagger's still alive.
Barely, man. They're pumping him full of formaldehyde every chance they get.
Anyway,
here back to the point at hand, though.
Yeah.
Repo Men with Jude Law and Forrest Whitaker, a lot of the same vibes as we're talking about here. A lot of the same vibes, and that's actually a really good movie.
Okay.
And I'm not just saying that because apparently I'm simping for Jude Law.
I can't think of a single Jude Law thing I've ever seen that was like
AI,
any
artificial
good.
intelligence.
That movie famously sucks, dude.
Dude,
it's a shitty movie.
Does a pretty good job.
Who was that? That was Spielberg.
Spielberg finishing it for Kubrick.
Kubrick, yeah. So,
right.
Yeah, that was an unfinished Kubrick project. Yeah, that movie.
A lot
stinks.
of Kubrick stuff is hit and miss for me. I gotta be honest.
Yeah, he's a guy that doesn't care about character at all. He only cares about like
aesthetic,
visual and storytelling and stuff like that.
100%.
But all of his characters are like flat and kind of they're secondary to what he's trying to do, with the exception of like that's why The Shining is his best movie.
Well, Hal from 2001: A Space Odyssey, that fits exactly what you're saying. Like, the main character here is meant to be flat. He's meant to be. Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing.
That's why.
Yeah, and that's also just one like vignette from that film. Indeed. It's not even the whole thing. But yeah, he doesn't do good character work, which frankly means he's bad. I don't care how visionary you are as a genius director. Barry Lyndon made me want to throw up. That's how god awful that movie is. And people talk about it like it's brilliant because he used only natural light and candlelight. He didn't have any electrical lights in this film at all. He did
really?
Yeah. So it's very dark, very natural, except for when it's like shot in broad daylight. Everything else is lit by candlelight. There's no electrical lights anywhere. He did all this research and found these really old lenses that absorb light in a different way that could make it seen. It takes place
some
like 1800s.
Right there.
Yeah. Technically, I suppose it's very smart, but it's a boring, lame story. It's poorly acted. Because what's his name? Ryan O'Neal is not up to the task of like doing it. Kubrick is a guy that makes you do like 800 takes.
Yes.
And that kills actors. You don't get good performances out of actors by forcing them to do this over and over again. There has to be some sort of authenticity to a performance. And if you're doing the same motion 100 times, the same activity 100 times, there's no way to grasp any authenticity of it. There's no way to act like it's a real thing you're doing.
Right. It feels rehearsed after just the fact that you have to do it that many times.
Yeah, and you lose whatever like soul you have. And we don't know which take. He might make you do it 100 times and then pick the first one every time. But either way, if he's taken one of the later ones, he's by default getting these flat, awful performances, which is why look at Eyes Wide Shut. Look at Barry Lyndon is horrifically acted. None of the
hell that he put
Nicole Kidman and
no the other guy,
Tom Cruise,
Full Metal Jacket.
Oh,
the hell that he put
Vincent D'Onofrio through.
Yeah. I mean, Vincent D'Onofrio only did 2 scenes of getting over the wall in the basic training scene because he fucked his knee up because of not only the weight, but because of the schedule that had to happen for that. Like, the hell that he put that guy through, I think that was probably the best proof of concept that he had for his methodology, but I mean, I don't think it paid off.
I don't know.
For a lot of other
stuff.
Know
who was exempt from this shit? Because he
R. Lee Ermey.
Yeah, R. Lee Ermey was exempt. R. Lee Ermey only did 2 or 3 takes
because he was.
But no, honestly, it's not because he was better. I think because it wasn't an actor at all. I think Kubrick just like, we can use it, and I'm not gonna. I can't force this guy who's not an actor to like go through this. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna.
That's an interesting.
I'm not gonna be able to plumb the depths with a dude like this. But he fucking made Scatman Crothers.
Catman Crothers.
Yeah, he made. Sorry, that was dumb. Don't listen to me, folks. I'm the worst podcaster at films. Yeah, he made Scatman Crothers do his fucking scenes. You gotta shine. He made him do that 100 times.
Fuck.
And to the point where he almost quit the film. He's like, fuck this, dude. This is crazy. I can't keep doing this shit. What do you want me to do different? And he doesn't give any direction. Which is why I genuinely don't like Kubrick movies, because the visual artistry is not worth the fact that none of the performances are good.
I like the idea of Kubrick movies more than I like watching a Stanley Kubrick movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
For me, the aesthetic, all of that, good stuff. But when it's like Incubus. He's kind of up his own ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No
Incubus.
offense to... Hi, Mr. Incubus.
That's so funny.
How are you?
I know nothing about the band Incubus. I don't even know if that's true about them.
It is very true.
I'll take your word for it.
It is very true.
I don't believe you. I believe you know what you're talking about. I just have never even... It's never even occurred to me that...
I like Incubus just fine. It's just Incubus thinks that they're the... You know how Oasis thinks that they're like the new Beatles? You know what I mean? Or thought they were?
I guess they did, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like that.
Okay.
It's like that.
Well, Oasis is the new Beatles. Surgery is the new Sex.
Surgery is the way to bring it back.
Cronenberg is... I've seen one film, but I can already tell he's instantly... You know, I'm late to the game. Clearly, people know that David Cronenberg is a very effective storyteller. But I'll take any Cronenberg film on sight, just on trust from after seeing this one. I'll take it over every Kubrick movie, because some of the staging, so the performances he got, the way this weird, creepy, goofy story is told is so kind of compelling and creepy. It's and fascinating. You're hooked the entire time.
I think that there's something to be said for that, because this is a very strange story to have to tell. Yeah. Cronenberg does a great job, and he gets a really good performance out of his, like a really good cast.
Everybody, yeah. I mean, everybody's good.
He gets a lot out of that cast,
and it's not all explained to you. There's a lot of stuff that is left unanswered at the end. There's a really, really cool reveal at the very, very end that I kind of didn't even fully get the first time I watched it, but after watching it the second time, I realized, oh my god. It's fascinating, and it's, who knows? And there's a lot of themes, and you can interpret them how you will. I immediately went to like drugs, alcohol, and then social pressure and fads and all that kind of stuff. But somebody else might watch this and have a completely different interpretation of what Cronenberg's trying to say with these people being so fascinated by this art and what's happening.
Yeah. I would, just to kind of not put too fine a point on it, but one of the last movies that you and I watched together was Nope.
Mm-hmm.
And that feeling of spectacle, right? Like something that's happening in somebody's body that is being turned into something that is monetized. That feeling of spectacle came through here, because that's what Viggo Mortensen,
Viggo Morgenstein.
That's what he is doing. Like he's literally using his body for art to make money. His closest relationship is a partner.
Yeah.
Not a wife, not a girlfriend. It is a business partner.
Yeah.
And I think that feeling of spectacle and exploitation carries over. I really do.
Yeah, I agree. So, would you recommend this movie to your fans?
I would I have no fans. I only have an OnlyFans, which is basically ceiling fans and oscillating. Anyway, I would definitely recommend this movie to people. I think that they should give it a chance. Like you said, you need to pay attention. This is a movie that benefits from active engagement on the audience's part.
Yeah. I have been recommending this movie to people. Like I said, thank you to Clarence for finally doing this episode with me, because I've wanted to do it since I saw this movie, and Maldo, my friend Maldo, is a baby, and he wimped out, and so did my other co-host, Jimmy D. He watched 10 minutes of this movie, and he texted me telling me he was scared and that he was going to cry because he's a baby. And so I couldn't get, but I've wanted to talk about this. I've been telling everybody that you have to go see this because I thought it was just fascinating from the first scene. I thought it was just so compelling.
Fascinating is a good way to put it.
Yeah, definitely go watch it. Go rent Crimes of the Future and watch it in a dark room with your phone put away somewhere else. And yeah. Anyway, where can the people find you, Clarence? What are you promoting? Black Ladder?
Black Ladder is still my my main band. We're working on a new band album. What the fuck am I talking about? We're working on a new album right now. Find us on Facebook. Find us on Instagram. Black Ladder Band. Just, it's me and two guys who are way shorter than me. Other than that, I'll be here whenever Nick will have me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, we've got plenty more episodes to do. Thanks everybody. As always, I'm your host, Nick Tazzo. You can find me on Instagram at Nick Tazzo Drums or Twitter at Nick Tazzo. Give me a follow, one of those places. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment and all that kind of stuff. Definitely leave a comment, and
let's get trashed.
I'll eventually see them and then respond. And the more comments I get, the more it seems like people actually care, and then the more YouTube will push my content to other people. And who knows, maybe someday I'll be reading you advertisements. In the meantime, thanks so much. Go watch Crimes of the Future. It's awesome. Subscribe and wait for the next episode as well. Thank you, everybody. Let's get trashed.
Let's get trashed.